All right, my favorite people, Sterling here, back at it again with another video on the truth about Grant Cardone. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned until the very end. Hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And this is one person that's been very influential for me, and I've also interviewed him as well to be a guest on my podcast. And this is important because the people that you're getting information from is you just always want to have a second set of eyes and just not simply follow people blindly. So stay tuned. So the first pro in learning from Grant Cardone and just his teachings and his learnings that he has out there is money, his money mindset, and the concept of how rich people buy time. And for the longest time, I did not actually understand this, but the context that it means is that I'm in real estate investing, and many of the owners that I would buy properties from is that, and this was on the single family side, is that they would cut their own grass. So you just think of, is that the highest value activity of their time, to spend 2 to 3 hours cutting the property's grass? Or they could actually pay someone, save that time, and go and do other things. Or myself is I outsource my grocery shopping. I don't enjoy grocery shopping, and I can spend that time to actually go do other more productive things. Or when you're paying employees and team members that you're bringing on your team, you're buying time to be able to go do more activities and highest value activities. So that's one concept that was an absolute game changer for me. All right, and the second, you guys, is how the middle class is getting squeezed. Go ahead and follow me this way. We're gonna go ahead and get in the car because it is pretty hot out here. I'm starting to sweat through my shirt, but the middle class being squeezed, for instance, is, he talks about the new middle class is actually someone who makes $1 million. Let's go ahead and get to the car here. Yeah, and being a millionaire is the first milestone you should actually be working towards, because you think of someone who makes 100,000, for instance, is their take home, depending of course what state you live in, you're actually taking home anywhere between 60 to 70,000, and many people tend to live above their means, and people who are in the middle don't get as much tax benefits. People that make more money, they figure out ways to be able to defer taxes or not have to pay taxes. And then you got people who are in the lower income, they've got benefits from the government. So you've got the middle class that's actually starting to be squeezed, and now it's just upper class and then lower class at some point in time. So that's one really great takeaway that Grant actually talks about, and most people just kind of put that under the rug, but at some point is the middle class is going to be non-existent. Yeah, and the last point I want to allude to is that a house is a liability and not an asset. And Robert Kiyosaki also talks about this too in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that if a house is an asset, that it should actually put money into your pocket. And then also in the event that you decide that, okay, I want to leave, and let's say you've got an opportunity somewhere in another state, that you simply cannot just get up and go. And then also you've got your ongoing maintenance and repairs, and all these different things that you have to deal with when you actually have a house. So it's not actually a asset at this point because it's not putting money in your pocket. It's actually a liability, versus buying a house as an investment. Now you've got your tenant who's actually paying down your expenses and your mortgage, and now you've got money and cash flow coming into your pocket. So now it's actually an asset. But now we're going to go ahead and head to the gym, do a nice little leg workout, you guys, because cannot skip leg day. Let's go. All right. But first, before we go into some points, get the blood flowing at the gym. So now going into the cons, and the content that he puts out there is the minimal for someone to go for a 16-unit apartment complex or a multi-family property. And that could be pretty daunting for a lot of folks. And versus when they could just start with single family and then just build the momentum from there. And that's exactly where I had actually started. I started with single family and then scaled to buying 150 and then started buying multifamily shortly after. And yes, aiming for the stars, and if you miss the stars, you would likely land on the moon versus hitting the moon or aiming for the moon and then hitting less than that. So there's always that double-edged sword that is, because going for 60 units is pretty big goal for most people, that you could just start with single family, get your foot in the door, and you may only need 10 units. You may only need 5 units to get to financial freedom or where you're looking to go. So that's always one thing you just have to be wary of, where the information is coming from. And the experience that happened to Grant was he started with one single family house and didn't have the best experience with that. And now he tells others to actually don't start with single family, but that was just one experience and one deal that he encountered with that and didn't have the greatest experience. Now he's telling others to not even start there, but I can attest to single family, it's a lower barrier of entry and it's a good way to get that first deal, and then you get the momentum, or you decide that you don't even want to be in real estate at all. All right, you guys. Nextly is, it can be pretty polarizing, just meaning that some of the things that he does say, which from a marketing standpoint, it makes sense, you want to get people's attention, but some of the things is, it really is on the thin line, which of here's the line here that he'll go over the line to actually be able to capture people's attention. So that's really one thing, is just the polarizing effect that either you love the guy or you hate the guy. I've not myself personally met many people that are actually in between. So that's something that you also have to consider, is just finding people who are most aligned with you. And everyone's gonna have their pros and cons. It's just whoever makes the most sense to your philosophy. Because if you go out there, you're listening to, and I know I'm out of breath because I just finished that workout. Because if you're listening to multiple people, it's a high probability that you're gonna start to get conflicting messages from one person versus the other person. So just finding one individual and then going as deep in their content as possible, and taking parts, discarding some that don't make the most sense for you, and keeping the ones that resonate the most with you, and then taking action. All right. Be sure to never skip leg day, you guys, because if you watched the cartoon and you're a 90s baby, let me know if you're a 90s baby, go ahead and comment below like me. There's a show called Johnny Bravo where he was big up top, small at the bottom because he skipped leg day. But going into my next point is just understanding that the con of Grant Cardone is he's a sales guy. That's a pro too, of course, but from the sense of just understanding that I've been to several of his growth conference, his boot camps and other events that he's had and services that he's pitched. So through the messaging and the content and the material, you just have to understand that there is some sales involved to push you to a certain product, likely in most of the content and material that he has out there. So just understanding, not following people blindly. That's the main thing I want to allude to you, and just to be aware. But we'll go ahead and look over there. As you see, there's a pool. It's a humid day. You guys know the next steps. All right, you guys, so just finishing things out, in conclusion is, as I've alluded to, Grant, very influential in my life, and he's got tons of great material that is out there. The mindset he talks about when it comes to money, when it talks about how big to go, where he came from to get where he's gone, and then also the marketing side of things. But there's some con, because we're all human beings and we're not perfect. So just understanding and just taking bits and pieces of information that make the most sense for you, or that you can actually go out there and apply, versus just following someone completely blindly. So go ahead, you guys, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and comment below literally with anything, because I truly do enjoy hearing from you all, because you all are truly awesome, and we're all on these journeys to become the strongest version of self. But till then, it's human. I'm gonna go ahead and get back into the water. Woo!